So it's come to my realization that maybe I should start to teach them PEMDAS, because if you haven't been in school in a while, in your late 20s, maybe you're in your early 30s, mid 30s, late 30s, 40s, and you want to get into one of these union apprenticeships, you're gonna have to pass a math test. So it has come to my attention that math is used in the trades. Now, if you want to get into a union apprenticeship, a union skilled trade like the lineman trade, ironworkers trade, pipe fitters, steam fitters, things like that, a lot of them require an aptitude test to pass to even get an interview or get an apprenticeship opportunity. So it has come to my realization that maybe I should start to teach them PEMDAS, because if you haven't been in school in a while, in your late 20s, maybe you're in your early 30s, mid 30s, late 30s, 40s, and you want to get into one of these union apprenticeships, you're gonna have to pass a math test. Now, for like the ironworkers union apprenticeship, all you have to do is just pass an aptitude test, and the better the score you get, the higher you get ranked. So the faster you're gonna get called out as an apprentice. Versus a lineman trade, you're gonna have an aptitude test, a skills test, then an interview before you even get in. But regardless, you have to pass an aptitude test to even get in. I figured, let's go in and let's just teach some PEMDAS. Now, what the heck is PEMDAS? So right here, I have PEMDAS and what PEMDAS really means. It's an acronym. I remember in middle school, we would always remember as "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally," which PEMDAS I feel like is pretty easy to memorize anyways. But PEMDAS is an abbreviation or an acronym for P equals parentheses, E equals exponents, M equals multiplication, D equals division, A equals addition, and S equals subtraction. So all PEMDAS really is just an order of operations. So when you go in to do math, simple algebra, which I'm going to go over a couple of equations with you guys just to show you, you follow this order of operations when you work the problem. When the math problem is right there in front of you, you use PEMDAS. No matter the case, no matter the situation, you use PEMDAS. So you work whatever's in the parentheses first. Then next, once the parentheses is finished, you work the exponents. Then when the exponents is finished, then you use multiplication. Then you do the division part. Then you do the addition, the subtraction. Now, every single problem isn't going to have every single thing. Not every problem is going to have parentheses, exponents, multiplication, subtraction, addition, and whatnot. So when you go to work a problem, which I'm going to show you here very shortly, you follow the order of operations, you're going to be able to get this problem dialed in. And from my knowledge, from my experience, PEMDAS is really as much math as you really need to know to pass an aptitude test, especially the math portion of an aptitude test. I mean, obviously there is some other like weird problems that PEMDAS isn't really going to help you with. They're more like technical problems perhaps, but for the most part, majority of your math, you can use PEMDAS and you're going to be able to get the answers. So let's hop into a problem and let's show you. So I have this problem right here written down. 4 plus 2 squared minus 6 equals x. So if you want, and you feel like you're having a hard time memorizing PEMDAS, you can always write out PEMDAS on the side if you want. I mean, you can write P-E-M-D-A-S, just so you know to follow the order of operations, you know where to start. Just like I showed in a previous video doing Ohm's law or the power law or the power formula, where I always draw it up in the corner of my page when I get a problem to do Ohm's law. It just helps me memorize. Even though I know the problem, you know, E equals I times R and I equals E divided by R and R equals E divided by I, it's still put up in the top of the page just so I know it's there and I just don't forget about the problem itself and how to do it. So let's jump into this. So we have 4 plus 2 squared minus 6 equals x. I always put equals x or x equals something because then it relates more to algebra. In algebra, basic algebra, you're always trying to find an unknown variable, right? And that unknown variable is usually x. So technically, the x, you will get a problem and the x won't even exist. You just have to work the problem out and just get a number. But for me personally, I just like, oh, what does x equal? Okay, now we have the problem, let's figure out what x equals. For me, it helps a little bit. So, in the order of operations, where do we start? Well, we start with the parentheses, correct? So that's the first letter, we have parentheses. So we work the parentheses first. 2 squared minus 6. Inside the parentheses, we work out everything inside the parentheses. Now, you can't exactly just do 2 squared minus x. That's not really possible. So, because the order of operations, the next step is to do the exponents. Well, we have an exponent inside the parentheses. So, we always work everything inside the parentheses first. So, I always write the problem as I go down through the problem. Okay, what's 2 squared? 2 squared equals 4, right? So we'll do 4 minus 6 equals x. Okay, so now we got the exponents done with. We still have to complete everything inside the parentheses though. So the next step says multiplication, but we don't have any multiplication, so we go down the line. Then it's division. Well, we don't have any division. Then we have addition and subtraction. We have subtraction, but it's still within the parentheses, so you still have to figure out everything inside the parentheses. You do not move on throughout the problem until everything inside the parentheses is done. So 4 minus 6 is what? -2 equals x. Okay, now we're down to just 2 variables left to find what x equals. Now that the parentheses are here, it doesn't even matter that the parentheses are there. You can take those parentheses away. I just keep them there, but we just know 4 plus, what's 4 plus -2, which is essentially is 4 minus 2. So 4 plus -2 would be 2. So we have x equals 2. And that's how you use PEMDAS to figure out a problem. That's a fairly simple problem. I'll show you a little bit more in-depth one next, but I just want to show you how PEMDAS works. So now we have x equals parentheses, parentheses, 3 minus 2 parentheses, plus parentheses, 8 divided by 2, parentheses, unparentheses, times 2 squared. Now there's a lot going on here. Well, let's draw PEMDAS over here. So where do we start? Parentheses, right? So x equals, we do everything inside. So as you can see here, there is parentheses inside parentheses. So you always work from, you start in the middle and you work your way out. So we'll start with, what's 3 minus 2? 1. So there's 1. Plus, what's 8 divided by 2? 4. On parentheses times 2 squared. Okay, so we have gotten those parentheses figured out. Now we have to do the parentheses as a whole here. Figure out everything inside here. So basically, what's 1 plus 4? 5. So we have the parentheses done. Now, where do we go? Well, we know that parentheses done. Next is exponents. Well, we do have an exponent right there. What's 2 squared? X equals 5 times 2 squared, which is what? 4. Okay, so we have the exponents done. We can cross that off, cross parentheses. What's next? Multiplication. Well, perfect. We have multiplication right here. We need to multiply 5 times 4. So once we have multiplication complete, what's 5 times 4? 20. So we know x equals 20 because we followed the order of operations and we figured out what x equals. It's that simple. If there was division, then you do the division, then you do the addition, then you subtraction. All that really comes down to it is you work everything inside the parentheses first. Once you get that dialed down to just basically one variable like I showed here with 5 being you know, everything that the parentheses, inside the parentheses was done, it equaled to be 5. Then you can move on to your exponents, then your multiplication, then your division, then your addition, then your subtraction. So it's very simple. I mean, I'm going to show a problem here, and I'm going to let you guys take a screenshot, take a look at it, practice this problem, because if you can do this one, basically, I mean, it's got almost everything in it. It's a somewhat of a difficult problem. So we have 11 minus parentheses, 6 divided by 2 on parentheses times parentheses, 7 divided by 5 on parentheses plus 8 parentheses on parentheses. So I have here 4 answers: 21.8, negative 17.2, negative 24.6, and 19.1. See if you can figure out this problem and comment down below if you work it out, get an answer. I'm curious what you get, because if you can do this one and you follow PEMDAS, then you should be relatively set to go to do math. You know, this is a pretty probably difficult problem to figure out. I don't think you'll ever even see this problem. I've never seen this problem on an aptitude test or in the trade in general. But if you can do this, then I feel like you're pretty well set to go. You can always look up online, Google, type in PEMDAS practice problems, and they'll give you a billion practice problems showing you, you know, the answers, or giving you a list of answers so you can choose answers and whatnot and just practice it. And so that's really all it is. I wanted to go over just the basic of PEMDAS, because I feel like PEMDAS is important. You know, if you can learn how to do PEMDAS and learn the order of operations, then that's going to help you significantly when it comes to taking an aptitude test to get into an apprenticeship, which is highly valuable. This is another thing that you can practice at home, just like knot tying. You can practice math and help further educate yourself and help better yourself, so you can be a better apprentice and help yourself get into a trade that you want to get into. So don't look past math. I mean, you're going to need math regardless, even if you don't get into an apprenticeship. Maybe you just go to a plumbing company, or you want to go frame houses, or you want to go do concrete, or you want to go do HVAC or electrical, you know, for some mom and pop shop down the road. You're still going to need to learn how to do some math. You're still going to have a little bit of math skills. So brush up on it. You know, it's not going to hurt you at all. Take a few minutes out of your day and practice your math, because I promise you it's going to help you in the long run. So hopefully you learned from this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, comment down below. Like I said, with that practice problem, work it out. I'd like to see an answer in the comments below. If you enjoy this video, like, comment, subscribe. Check out other videos on our channel where you can learn other math problems, learn how to tie some knots, some other handful of things. And thanks for watching.